I was on YouTube the other day, probably procrastinating of some sort, when I came across this YouTube short showcasing 3 super simple lighting setups that I actually really liked. So I asked myself, can we do this with just 2 light tubes? So I decided to dust off my power tubes and build up setup 1. Alright, our first setup is ready, and it's super simple. All we need is a white wall and 2 lights. I did use a plant to break off the background a little bit, but we don't necessarily need this, and if you want to go for a cleaner setup, you can, and we will get rid of this in the later shots. The final shot you can use for a quick interview, a testimonial, or even an editorial shoot. Our key light is set to 5600 Kelvin, and so is our camera. I set it up relatively high as well as rather frontal, and this gives me a very flattering look. It creates this subtle but soft shadow underneath the nose, and it's still giving me a really nice catch light in my eyes. I set our second light to the RGB mode, and it's set to an orangey color because we're filming against a white wall, and I felt this gives us a bit of a color contrast and breaks off the scene to create visual interest. I positioned the light halfway between me and the background, and therefore I do get a bit of an edge light, but we're also getting this glow in the background. And this is it, a super simple setup using only 2 tube lights. And now I'm going to show you the before and after. I'm going to turn off all the lights, and then I'm going to switch them back on one by one. For our next lighting setup, we need the room to be entirely dark. So for this, unfortunately, we need to wait a little. Or we just... That was easy, but that doesn't really look that good anymore. So we need to switch the lighting around, and let's go fully RGB right now. But for this, we need to make some changes. Number 1, we need more control over our lighting. So we're going to snap some grids onto our light tubes. And we have arrived at our second setup, and this you can use for music videos, for athlete promos, or ads in general. We have rearranged our light sources. I put our key light on camera left, and I left our kicker light where it was before. The barn doors and grid are very important for this setup, because we want to minimize the spill that goes onto the background. I chose a rich orange for our key light and a saturated green for the hair light, because both of them are on the opposite end of the color spectrum and complement each other very well. The key light is positioned at a very steep angle to just catch my edge and increase contrast. But if you were to use just the key light without the hair light, I would just drown into the background and our scene would look very monotone. And that's why I chose to just bring in an edge light just behind me to just separate myself from the background a little bit more. And here I'm going to show you the before and after again. I'm going to switch off all the lights and then switch them back on one by one. And now for our last setup, we're actually going to involve the background and light it directly. So let's start setting up. And here's our third and final lighting setup. And you can use this in many creative ways, for music videos, promotions, ads, etc, etc. And it is as simple as the other 2. All we need is a white wall and 2 lights. The one thing we do need for the setup is a boom arm, because we need to boom our key light above our subject. We want our key light to hit our subject from a top-down angle, and we're using our barn doors and grids again to control the light spill, because we only want a sharp edge on our subject and nowhere else. And all we need for this is a C-stand, a sandbag, and make sure that you put the long leg to where the load is. Then we need 2 grip heads, a boom arm, and that's it. Because our light tube is very light, and therefore it doesn't really take a huge setup to actually make this work. Now to create the gradient in the background, we used the same RGB tube light, we just rotated it by 90 degrees. And we also put it at around a 45-degree angle towards the wall. And with this, we easily create the cylinder shape. And again, for this, we need the barn doors, because without them, our entire background would just be red and we couldn't create the shape. As for the colors, we did the same thing we did last time, and we used 2 colors on the opposite end of the color spectrum. But here you can be creative and you can choose any colors you like. And one last time, I'm going to show you all lights turned on one by one. And there you have it. 3 simple light setups where all we need is 2 tube lights, a couple light stands, and that's it. And we can do this in our living room, and all we need is a white wall. I hope you liked this video and maybe you learned something, and if you did, then please give this video a thumbs up. And if you want to check out another simple lighting tutorial, then check this video out right here and subscribe for more tutorials and everything about cinematography. And I hope to see you on the next one.